My dream, my dream, my dream, my dream, my dream.
The fact that Cat Williams' joke was actually used before that was recorded and stuff like that. So the evidence is there to prove Cat Williams' point. But they have this thing about where the victor tells a story, not saying that Cedric is the victor, but at one point he was the victor in the sense that he was the more popular out there comedian. So no one was listening to Cat Williams. But
Right.
as time goes by and you see, as he said, 2024, 2023 to 2024, we're starting to see and understand the industry, entertainment, the world in a different way. So, who you had more respect for as the more popular entertainer, you're starting to not have that much respect for people like, say, for example, a Diddy, for example, a R. Kelly. Certain people that used to look up as, look to as icons, you're starting to say, yeah, these people have some dirt. Some people have some stuff in their closets. And you start to look at people different. And then at the same time, when you start to look at certain people that you probably had a negative notion about, like say a Cat Williams or, a Charleston White, as time progresses, you start to find out more about each individual. And then you start to realize not everything you saw or heard was the actual truth. So some people were playing a facade and some people were being, labeled in a sense where we were, led down a path to believe that, Cat Williams is a crackhead. I used to hear people say he was on drugs. I believed. Even Chappelle, when they said Chappelle was on drugs at first, oh, he took drugs, he ran off to Africa, this, that, the stuff that was put out there, I believed it. You know what I'm saying? So I guess, time is the master, and now time is telling us what's going on. And Cat Williams is out here speaking his truth. I'm guessing. Who knows? We may find out that it's not his truth. Maybe someone else is gonna come along and say Cat Williams had stole their joke. And have evidence to prove that.
Right. So, but what I'm saying, with these things coming out, like these are people that growing up, you would look up to as icons, and to find out these stuff, like these things are like a facade, like it's not what it seems or what you were told, and then that can have like a negative impact because you're gonna be saying like these people you look up to, like these are very famous people. Like you see these people and you say, well, these people have everything cut out for them. But when you realize the backstory is nothing like that, and you start to wonder like what is real and what is not real. Are these people made up or stuff like that? So there's a negative impact there on it also, and people life that look up to these people, and people are attached to these people where they can get hurt by just looking up to them and then realize that these people are not what it seems like. So I think
Definitely.
that's like a negative impact also. It can create a negative impact there. So
I,
that's
I,
what
So,
I.
so more and more we are finding out more and more information about famous people that we know that we look up as, like you said. But
Hmm.
this goes back to like everywhere that you look at, you find out that in order to get a role, would you have to, ladies have to do certain things, or guys have to do certain things. So more and more we're finding out more information about what it really took to become like a star. Like you wasn't like, oh, this one is
wow.
just so talented. So
You
more and
know,
Yes.
more I look on each person, say I see a Beyonce or I see a Rihanna or anyone, I'm like, oh, do they actually make it? Because of stuff like this coming out, you like, I wonder what they did. This goes back to anyone that's famous, because you think into your head like you have to do something to become that famous.
and with that said, right? Let me put it to you like this, right? As you're starting to look at everyone and question everyone, every famous person. What did you do? But at this point, it's more like what did you not do? Because the amount of things we're hearing and the rituals, the asins that went on, that still goes on, the Weinstein allegations, the Diddy allegations, countless stuff that's coming out. In the music industry, you find out a lot of these artists were young, they were groomed, they were into all sorts of madness, and then you're like, wow, mind blown. But to be honest with y'all, one of the crazy story I heard. Yeah, we hear the Terry story, Terry Crews story. We hearing Cat Williams story with Weinstein. We're hearing these story, but the crazy story to me that has I don't know if I heard, if I misheard. I wish I could just figure out what the hell when Selma Hayek, right, accused Weinstein, and I was thinking like for her to become a director. And I was thinking, like, Selma, you were already famous. How did this happen? Why? Why? Like, my brain, I'm so mind boggled. Like, if you are already rich and famous, why would you subject yourself to that to get? I don't understand.
Because she already did shit already. S- So pardon my language, but if you already did, say you already committing out of to become famous, obviously you're okay with doing something else. It's like she's not telling the full story. It's like she did something else in order to become famous, and now there's something else. She's famous now. It's just like, why not others do that? So it's not that she's used to that already. So it's not something new. It's not like, you know, you're a virgin and then someone asking to have. She's already did something like this already.
Wow, that's one way of looking at it. That's one
So
way of
you would
looking
say
at it.
like already she been through that process, so it's like at this moment it's like nothing. But I think what happened, maybe she just accusing the person now because maybe she wanna be put it out there again or like something else because this person is being accused of many sexual things, right? So I guess she just wanna say she just put it out there again that I've been through this and this is what happened and stuff like that. So it's as you said, it can be like maybe she already did something to get famous and she just want everyone, do it again. But that's another way
I,
to look at it.
yeah, but if you look at most of them, they only comes out once somebody else come out. They don't like say for random people until someone start doing it and then everyone start making allegations because these are all allegations. So as soon as like she may not say anything now about what she had to do before that until something happened with this other person, then she comes out about that other person also.
Well,
So
that is true. A lot of people don't want to be the first. It's hard to come out, but once that train gets started, and well, Me Too. That's why they call it the Me Too movement, because once a person come out and make an allegation against a person, and the other person like, well, I went through something similar. I went through that. I went through something worse, and they want to tell your story. So basically, it's Me Too. Like, yeah, that happened to me too. So I'm not saying, like, she shouldn't have. She should tell a story, but like you said, it's like she have been through the process. And let's be honest, we're looking at famous people and we're saying, yo, what did they go through? What did they do? And put it like this, right? When you see like porn stars, right? And if you listen to them giving their story and how they went from, doing their first scene to doing more extreme scenes, and you can tell with each step of the way, it's more like, all right, a little bit more money, a little bit more fame, a little bit more money, a little bit more fame, and they go further and further and further down the rabbit hole. And I think that's what she was going through, right? Even though she was already rich and famous, right? It's like she's just trying to get to the next level, so she's going down the rabbit hole. So it's the price they're paying, like paying the Pied Piper to be more famous. So in her case, she was moving up, from just being an actress to being a director. So it was like, it's another step up, and that was the price to pay, I guess. It's nuts.
Okay, so in that situation, it's like she did this try to get the director role, but I guess the price was too hefty, and she's like she couldn't take it, so she cry out. Is
I, I
is
did she I think she did pay the price, and I think she did get it. I just think that you know in hindsight, I was just like, for me, I was like, I guess, all right, put it like this, right? I don't really fully understand other adults, like, big people, grown people. I don't really understand them sometimes. I can understand children being exploited, but adults, sometimes it's a bit confusing to me, because are you being exploited, or is it a case you're subjecting yourself to the exploitation? Because let's be honest, right? If I am a director, and let's say, I'm auditioning females for a role, right? And I see this female and I like this female, and I'm like thinking like I would give her preferred treatment if she was to give me preferred treatment, right? So it's a barter system, an exchange system, and that's reality. That's just reality. So if you're an adult and you're willing to barter yourself for money or a position or whatever the case is, a role, you know, I'm like, you're an adult. So I that part kind of confused me when adults cry out, you know what you're doing. You're fully competent in knowing what you're doing and the price you're paying. So when they cry out afterwards is where I'm a bit confused. Like, did you not know what you were doing? Were you under duress? But hold on one second. I have to give full context and understanding to this. People would explain the other side to that argument to say, hold on, the blackballing is a possibility. So if you turn the person down, if you turn down the person can blacklist you, and basically you can't get no work at all. So that's incentive for you to follow through with their proposition. So that's something we have to also think about.
Yeah, they also use strategy to do these things. If you look up documentary and stuff like that, they tell, ladies, for example, they will tell them that everyone, this is what you have to do to get in the entertainment industry. This is what you got to do. Everyone did this, and they would start naming famous people, and they're like, oh, they have to do this. All these people, so they make it seem normal. So, that's the way they do it. Everyone use mind games. They use mind games on people to do these certain activity, and then later on, once you come out of it, it's like, you know, everyone. If you're not in any like groups of people or nothing like that, you wouldn't believe what you may do when you're in certain situation. It's like when we grew up, right? You know,
Yeah.
it's like, we grew up together. When we grew up, you did certain activity that you wouldn't do once you're out of it. You like, what was I thinking? Why was I doing these things?
Okay, so it's a sense that people being programmed to accept certain things, normalize, in a sense, like when people go through Stockholm syndrome, like, you get abducted, and some people, get used to certain things. When you're in an environment, a society, the social norms of the society can become your social norm because you're part of that society. Like when in
Yeah,
Rome, it was do as the Romans do.
and like, later topics you may discuss, like the Cassie thing. It's like the same thing. It's like you do it once you're in it. You think it's, you have to do that thing in order to, if you don't do it, like you were saying earlier, if you don't do it, this is what's gonna happen to you. This person's gonna say these things about you, and so on and so forth. And they actually did do stuff like that. They blackball certain people, you know.
You
So it's
know,
not it's not really like it didn't happen. It did happen.
Yes,
So
and a lot of people are very afraid of being publicly shamed. So that's the way to look at it. Like they have some information, they hold it over their head. They say, if you don't do this, we're gonna put this out. And as you mentioned, the Cassie and the Diddy case, like we see where right off the bat he went and he paid off the money like right away, but we will talk about that later. So it's how it's how they try to categorize their thing and what they do and how they do it, and hold people like, listen, if you don't do this, you will not get through in the industry, you will not become famous, so you have to go through this process, you have to do this, and that's what they do. I
yeah,
think.
but to get us back on Cat Williams and Cedric and all of them, it's like, it kind of like ruins, as being someone that's a little bit older, kind of ruins your child growing up and like really looking up to certain people, that these people are so funny to me and all these other things, and how you learn more information about it. Sometimes like you don't want to learn more information about people that you look up to. Sometimes it's like I look up to Martin Luther King, and then someone will tell you Martin Luther King was a big cheater and big and all these other things. Some people would actually tell you these things. So it's like, do you actually want to know about these personal life? Because no one is perfect.
That's true. That's true. Give me a second. 1 second. Loxton, your vocals are a bit heavy. I don't know if you're speaking too deep into the mic, into the phone, or not. We're gonna introduce Tasha in the building right now. Tasha Tyrell Williams. How are you doing today?
I am good. I am good. How are you all doing today?
Yeah, we just kick off the reasoning, just
Okay.
just holding it down until you get here. So
All right.
we're actually just talking about Cat Williams and Cedric, and we're off down the path of Hollywood right now, talking about how it is, how we're looking at like famous people, entertainers, superstars, that with each when each year pass by and information coming out more and more, is we're looking at them like, what did you do to become famous? That's where we're at right now. It's what did you do or what you did not do to get famous.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, because it seems as if like certain things are rite of passage, like it's normalized that people have to subject themselves to certain things, or everybody seem to have dirt or hidden stuff in their closets. So it's pretty much like the entertainment industry is not as pretty as I guess we used to look at it when we were younger. And right now, as a fan of certain people, it's just like, as Loxton was saying, you don't want to know. It's
Mhm.
like, yeah, we don't want to know. I don't want to know your personal life anymore, because it's starting to ruin, our childhood and what we used to think of certain people. It's like, I used to look up to Jay-Z. Then I hear certain things now. I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
I,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, it
So
starts to shape how you begin to look at the other person. Yeah, I think that can happen really across the board, right? The more you kind of know of someone, because everybody has something in their history that they're not proud of, it can kind of taint how you start to look at them.
that is true. That is true. So, Loxton, you were saying something. Do you want us to move on to the next topic, or you had something else to say about Cedric, Cat Williams and Cedric?
We could move on.
Okay, so Cat was dropping some bombshells about Weinstein and offerings and stuff like that, right? What you know I'm a bit lost, for grown man being offered certain things and it's normalized. I'm looking at it from the perspective that Cat Williams is basically saying that he's one of the few black men that wasn't or is not willing to subject himself to certain things in Hollywood for fame, like playing female roles or
Mm.
playing certain roles. And he's saying Kevin Hart is a plant, and Kevin is willing to do that, and Smiley is willing to do that. Obviously, a lot of these comedians. And I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. When I see Kevin Hart and The Rock kissed, I don't know, man. I was just like, why? I don't understand it. I don't get it. Why? Why did these two guys need to do this? Did they get extra money? Did they need the extra money? What do you have to say about that, Tasha?
Well, the thing about, again, I can answer the question as to why. There's some things when you see on film, you do question why, especially if it's supposed to be taking someone out of their comfort zone or taking someone out of a part of who they are. We do question why. So I think that is a good question. However, I think, when we think about acting and just the whole feel of actresses and actors, that I think there's a lot of parts to that field that One could question, right? Because you're asked to do a lot. I'm sure there's many of them are asked to play a lot of roles, and what motivates them to enter into some of the roles that they play in. Really, I guess I'm really there with you. We don't know why. My question would be, what does it mean to show up in a role that is taking you outside of who you normally see yourself as, or the public knows you to be? So I'm kind of there with you. I'm questioning it myself.
DL, what do you have to say about that?
Okay. How I would look at it, like, why would they accept that role? If is it really taking them out their comfort zone, or they're on the big screen, so they would put on
Mm.
um a lifestyle that people would look up to, but then you will see them accepting certain roles, and then you have to wonder, like, are they comfortable with this,
Mm.
or what really happened, why they accept this role? And when they accept these roles and they do this, there's a lot of people out there that will look up to them. And if they're doing that and saying it's normal, then these people that look up to them, some of them would say, okay, this is normal to accept now and do this. But you have to wonder why these people, like, why would they accept these roles and do it? Like, is the person that are hiring them has something holding over their head? And we have to ask these questions. But I don't know why they would accept this. It has to be that they're already comfortable with doing this in their
Uh,
personal life that we don't know about.
funny enough, The Rock and Kevin's situation is weird because we had like behind the scene of it, them talking about doing it, trying to work out doing it, and it seemed like, well, from the visual aesthetics, that they were very uncomfortable doing it,
Mm.
but it was so the why right there is still not being answered, because if they are uncomfortable, why are they doing it?
And remember, these people are professional actors, so they can act a scene like they're not comfortable doing it. Just to,
That's the other thing. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah. Is that part
Now,
of what it means to be an actor or actress? The ability to just show up be uncomfortable and show up in those spaces. So, yeah. Hmm.
stick a pin right there. I have a friend that's an actor, and he's a black man, and he came to me once and he said to me, he's from the islands, he's Guyanese, well, not technically from the islands, but we say that. So he was saying basically that he's being offered a role, but he has to play, it's a homosexual role. And he's basically saying to me, like, he's been doing acting for over 10 years and he hasn't gotten a lead role. And he's saying to
Mm.
me, like, he might have to take this role. And yeah, he's asking me what I'm thinking about it. And I said to him, like, listen, it seems to me like the only way a black man can break into Hollywood is by playing an homosexual role. It seems like that is a stipulation that's on it. And if that is something you want to do, and if this is a journey you want to take, that is up to you. But for me, that's not a journey I would go on. And I think it's the reality, because for every black actor I know, it's either they are homosexual or they play homosexual roles. I don't fully understand if it's a case where, as you said, Tasha, if it's to show your versatility that you can really act. Because I always say, why not get someone that is
Mm.
of that orientation to play that role? Why get someone straight to play a homosexual role? Or why get a homosexual to play a straight role? I don't understand that aesthetic.
I think
Except
also,
Denzel Washington. We got to say that.
ah, mm,
Denzel,
yeah.
yes, well, you're saying Denzel didn't have to do subject himself to that, except
Yes, and he actually told Will Smith, if you go back in the days, he told Will Smith to not do any more of those roles.
Mm.
Yeah, if you look it up, you could see like Will Smith. One of his first role was one. He was playing a gay guy, and yeah, and Denzel Washington told him not to do that.
Yeah, okay, understood. So you were
I
saying,
always
Tasha?
wonder. I mean, I'm always wondering though, for actors and actresses, when you choose to get casted in a certain role, I feel like it kind of sets the tone. So, like, even talking about your friend who's considering it, my question for him would be, this role that you're considering is kind of that is how you want to continue to be casted for roles. I feel like your starting roles oftentimes lock you into subsequent roles that you get casted for.
And no, that's not what he wants to play. And even went into details about the role, breaking down the role to me, and basically telling me, so he's going to be playing this a boyfriend. He's going to be in bed, and there's going to be sexual scenes and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. And I was like, bruh, I'm not going down that road with you. I would never do it. But if this is something you want to do, I can't knock you on doing that. But I don't know if it worked out for him. I don't know if he did it or not. He never said anything about it to me, and I did not ask. I saw a clipping from a movie, just randomly going through YouTube shorts. I saw a clipping, and he was in one of them. Some, I think it was a TV show or something. I was like, all right, that's cool, you know.
Mm.
But as you said, it locks people into roles, and I don't know if it's, you know, to I, I can't even say. I guess there was a time where I could say that, you know, it was the demean black man, but being that, you know, in this day and age, it's not demeaning to be gay
Mm.
or
Mm.
lesbian. So I guess whatever dominance that was, because in this day and age, it's more empowering to be, you know, lesbian, gay, bi, or to they, them. Those stuff now are literally like, if you know, like a power, like it's a superpower now.
Mm. Mm.
So you as a straight person, you can't really say much. So I don't
But
know.
what if it's to test you though? Because you say that. What if it's to test you and see, oh, how much you willing to do for certain roles? What if it's just a test?
I mean, it's definitely a test. There's no doubt about it. There's no question about it. It is a test, but a test for what though?
Yeah,
I would
later
hope.
on, later on, I may come to you. Someone may like you, a powerful person, the opposite sex may like you,
Mm.
and would you be tempted to get
Um,
a? Yeah,
Yeah. I wonder if it's. I hear that. I hear what you all are saying. Is it a test? What kind of comes to mind for me is it more of a test of how bad do you want to break into, you know, the genre of acting, like how badly do you want to break into, because everybody needs that entry point. I'm not saying yay or nay as to whether this should be the way that someone breaks in, but I am saying that I'm sure that there's degrees of testing. How bad do you want to become an actor? How bad do you want to become an actress? I think that could also play a role.
are you willing to sell your soul, basically, and how much you willing to sell it for?
Well, tell me a little bit about selling of the soul, because it's like you said, with it becoming more and more acceptable and more inclusive, um, I don't know if it would be even deemed selling your soul.
I still see it as selling soul
Mhm.
because, as you said, it's a test to see how far you're willing to go. And
Mm,
say, for example, right, Doja Cat was saying, I saw something where she was saying that, who said she never said that she sold her soul or anything, or she's
mm,
into the devil worshiping. She's saying basically she just put imagery in her music and in her videos and stuff like that. And I was thinking to myself, like, I mean, you're advertising it, you're selling the product. So it's like, I'm not asking if you're using the product, because if you're represent, let's say you're LeBron James and you're advertising for Sprite, I'm not asking you if you're drinking Sprite in your, you know, at home and stuff like that, or when you're off camera, but you're still advertising Sprite. You're still advocating for
mm,
Sprite. So when she put that imagery and all of those demonic stuff, dressed in red, the satanic type stuff, that you're not maybe you're not a Satanist, but
mm.
what you're projecting to us is that.
Well, let me spice this up for a minute. So, and I'm asking, I'm not, I actually don't, not like stating a position here. So then let's just take porn stars, right? They act, right?
Yeah.
So are we saying that that this is something that they defines who they are?
if what you do does define who you are, I would say. If you're a porn star, when the camera is off, you're saying basically, I just get up and go to work, and this is my job. A lot of people would try to say, this is my job. But
Hmm.
if you're willing to do that as a job, that is who you are. It defines who you are.
So then we are saying then, well, then you are saying then that The Rock and Kevin Hart, and that's, we're saying that's who they are, because
Not
that's how. Hmm.
they're will. All right. So for money, they're willing to do that.
Okay.
So how far you're willing to go for money? How further are you willing to go? I for one, I love Halle Berry, but when Halle Berry took the role in Monsters Ball, I even before that with Swordfish, I remember thinking like, Ali, for $1 million, you're gonna show your boobs.
Mm,
You could have gotten that 1 million without showing your boobs by requesting an extra million. You're Ali Berry. If they truly wanted you, if the studio really wanted you, an extra million to show your boob, I mean, really? And
She
then
just, yeah, she just wanted to.
exactly. So that's just an excuse. And then with Monsters Ball, with her, the Oscar, and it's like that's the role you took to demean, to get demeaned and treated like that in order to win an Oscar. I look at stuff like that and I'm like,
mm,
yeah, was it worth it though? Like, but then again, maybe it was to her.
possibly. Hmm.
But I just never look at her the same again though.
Yeah. I'm not even sure
So
if they're looking at the long. They may not even be looking at the long term effects or outcomes of that one role, or how the public may view them. Anyhow, I don't know if actors and actresses are showing up really evaluating what this means for me to show up in a particular space in a particular way.
and that's
Yeah,
true. That's true.
but eventually, when you move away from the people, when you become
Mhm.
that famous, you move away from the people. You're not gonna be, you don't have the same viewpoint anymore. You're looking at stuff differently, so you're not. They're in a totally different world.
Oh, you're saying that once they kind of get into heights of their career, you're saying?
Yeah, it's like
Oh.
you just mentioned the porn industry. You once
Mhm.
you're in it, you step away from basically. I'm not saying it's reality. It's not reality, but you step away from reality with regular folks. You live you somewhere else, so you eventually start doing different things.
Oh,
Like
wow.
what to do next. What am I gonna do next to
Mm,
up
mm,
what I just did? You have to.
right.
So Ali Berry eventually like, yo, what can I do to get that Oscar? What could I do to make people talk more
Ah,
about me? Everyone is already saying I'm the prettiest. What
right.
what else can I do to up that? There's always gotta, it's like you a millionaire, a billionaire. What next? Where you go? Why you need so much money? They're just trying to get more, like Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos. Why do you need so much money? They're just trying to get more and more. And you're like, why?
Well, I think people are constantly looking for ways to reinvent themselves anyway, which I think speaks to some of this, the what next. How do I, how any way that you can look to kind of reinvent yourself or have yourself showing up differently, um, potentially more appealing, whatever the case may be. I think that is true that people are often looking to reinvent themselves.
As y'all said though, Halle Berry regarded at that time as the most beautiful woman in the world, or one of, I should say, and she played in Monsters Ball literally one of the ugliest roles ever in the
Mm,
history of movie. So I guess prettiest woman in the ugliest role equal to Oscar, I guess.
it happened.
Congratulations.
My dream, my dream, my dream, my dream, my dream.
To all my Jamaicans, yard and abroad, get ready for the My Dream podcast at the Dream 2024 podcast coming in January. Get ready, get ready. Subscribe from now. My Dream, my dream. Yeah, that's the podcast coming to you covering all topics when it comes to Jamaica. dancehall, reggae, entertainment, life, relationship.
Tell you my dream is to live my dream. Hear the most I in me sleep when me say
2024, the thing now go normal. Subscribe now.
look at me now, where them treat